Hey up troops, Littleton here again with another video, and you might be wondering what I'm sat behind. You might have already seen what I'm sat behind, but no, don't worry, I am not the new operator for Year 9 Season 3. However, Skopos is, and this video is all about Skopos, how she works, how her robots work, and how I feel that most people, or a lot of people, are likely to play it in-game. So we'll go through how the robots work. How do you switch? Yes, you can switch. How's the gun? What are the most common sort of tactics that I think are going to be used? That's enough waffling. Just get stuck into it. So we'll just come on to the weapon very quickly. It's the PCX-33, and it's an absolute monster. It's an assault rifle. It does 36 damage, 745 RPM. It's got a 31 bullet capacity, and it's pretty good. The damage is high. The damage that it does to like walls, it goes through walls quite easily. Even though it says destruction low there, it does go through walls a lot better than most SMGs. Obviously, it's an AR, like most ARs on attack. But the recoil is pretty low. The damage is really good for defense, and the RPM's up there. There's very little recoil. It feels great. It's going to be a top gun. So, who is Skopos, and what does she do? First of all, let's start by shooting the radio. Right then, Skopos, as an operator, doesn't exist in the game, so to speak. When the round starts, you play as one of her robots, and there's also another robot here. Now, if I just go to somewhere, you'll be able to see the UI for a second. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, we've got two robot indicators. The left-hand side is the active currently because it's white. The right-hand side is inactive currently because it's grey. You can see this is the inactive robot. Now, the inactive robot isn't just completely defenseless. It's covered by a bulletproof shield and essentially what's a mirror window to play behind here. The mirror window also, the window on top of the shield also acts like a mirror window. If you punch the shield anywhere, this will crack exactly like a mirror window does. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll do it later on just to show you. I want to make sure, once you've cracked it, it stays cracked all around, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move away from the bomb so we don't hear that beeping whilst I'm going to talk about what the robots can do. We know that the idle robot is here, by the way. So we'll move over into master bedroom, and like I've just said, you can switch between these robots as you wish. So you've got to find a place where you can sit and do the transfer, because the robot that I'm in at the minute is going to become the idle robot, and this robot's going to become the active robot. So we'll press the gadget button, which takes us into our cam, and the idle robot acts as a bulletproof camera as well. You can see you've got 180-degree division. If you press and hold F, which is transfer, you'll now take over the idle robot, and the robot that was over in master bedroom now becomes idle, and I now become active. So if we go back over here to look at the UI, you see now the right-hand side is active, the left-hand side is now idle. So we'll go over here, and it looks exactly the same. The two robots are almost identical. The only difference is color. So you can see now we've got a bulletproof shield here, and also like a mirror window on the top again. Exactly the same thing. So what the key thing on the UI is, if you want to be able to transfer, you've got to make sure that the robot is standing in a place where this shield can be deployed. I nearly said destroyed then. So what I mean by that is you can't go over to this wall and stand here because the shield couldn't deploy in this corner. The UI shows you this. You see it's red, and if I go here, there's a little area here where I can actually use it. So I'd be able to transfer over in this corner. You know, not a great place, but you see me point. But you wouldn't be able to go right into this corner, back up into the... You can see it's red on the left-hand side. You need to come away from the wall a little bit, and now we can do it here. Transfer over. You know what I didn't notice at first, by the way, is look at the screen when I transfer. You see Skopos' actual face. Watch. Watch the sort of middle of the screen. You see her face there? It's actually pretty creepy. I didn't notice that for a while. Now, how do these two robots work? Well, they both have the same gun, and they both have the same secondary utility. I've got two impact grenades. It's two whether I'm with this robot or with that robot. Now, where things are separate slightly is the health bar. So I'm going to take this robot over here. I'm going to throw an impact grenade here. You'll see I'm on 110 health. I'm now down to 70 health. However, if I swap over to this robot, I've now got 110 health again. We swap back over to the other robot, and I'm on 70 health. So the robots have separate health pools. However, if you die in your active robot, so if I die, I'm fighting onto the breach here, and if I die using the active robot, the idle robot also dies. It's not... I've seen people mention it on Twitter that if I'm part of the active robot and then I die, do I get to take over the idle robot? As in, do I sort of have 2 lives? No, you don't. If you die in the active robot, that's it, round over. However, if you kill the idle robot, you're still very much alive in this robot. It just means you can't swap over, so I'll show you what I mean. So if this robot dies, an enemy destroys it, you know, they see wherever you've hidden it or whatever you do. That's now dead. However, we're still very much alive. The only difference being, I just can't swap robots now because it doesn't exist anymore. We've respawned back into CCTV here just so both robots can be alive. And I just want to talk about where I think we're going to see Skopos used and what role she'll play. So I think you'll see Skopos used a little bit aggressively at the start of the round. So let's just say, you know, on top of rafters, trying to get a spawn peek maybe. Although it's still a bit risky, obviously, in any case. But being a little bit more aggressive on the lower floor when we're defending CCTV. Holding blue window maybe, holding lobby door, holding a bit of stock here or here. Being quite aggressive, trying to get an early pick, but not pushing it too hard. If they then get into a gunfight and lose some health, let's shoot the fucking jukebox. If they get into a gunfight and they lose some health, you know, let's just say they've been into a gunfight, they're down to 70 health. I just missed the first impact, by the way. Down to 70 health. Let's pretend I hit the second impact as well, and we're down to 30 health. You know, we're a bit struggling for health a little bit. We can just come in here. Transfer to the robot upstairs that was in spawn. And we can kind of ignore the robot down there now. Although, if the enemy goes and destroys that robot, it's on 30 health, it's downstairs, it's not the end of the world. I'm now back inside with a full complement of health. And an absolutely unbelievable gun, by the way. We'll come on to that shortly. So I'm back on site, full health. You know, I can still play here as you normally would onto the breach through that angle or through here, whatever it might be. If the enemy then doesn't destroy that robot, later in the round, you might go, hang on, there's a flank on here. I know I've only got 30 health, but there's somebody bottom red. I'm going to just come around here, peek this area here, and now we're downstairs. You might get that kill there. You go back upstairs. Now you're fighting onto construction door. I think there's going to be some insane clips with Skopos where you get like 2 kills here, transfer downstairs. 2 kills on red stairs. Transfer back to cash. Final guys outside construction. There's your third. Imagine an ace where you're like flicking between the robots. It's going to be really, really cool. The other thing is just a dedicated flank. So let's just say, for example, we're defending CCTV. The place that I saw earlier on, which I think would be fairly obvious, is here in showers. Just get yourself tucked in. Transfer over. You can be playing around here, playing underneath even. Causing a problem underneath on the hatch. Causing a problem for the attackers. Come up to site. I haven't got any impacts to make a rotate there. That's annoying. Come up to site. You know, play the usual spot that you play when you're in cash onto condor, hiding behind here. Oh, there's, you know, you get the call, there's 2 in master. Swap over. Turns out there is 2 in master. So you can kind of be a little bit more, with the idle robot that you try and hide in the map at some point, you can be a little bit more adventurous with it, but I've only played about 15 rounds and it's been really, really useful so far, but I'm sure as the operator's released, the community is going to get right into some great tactics. So we've just come on to Cafe then to the other robots spawned underneath the skylight, a bit precarious. To have a look at where the options would be in Cafe, I'm just going to use Freezer as an example here. And when you're defending top floor, transfer out to the other robot. You can be playing over in piano. Shoot the speakers. Maybe playing in piano here. You find out 3 have dropped red and 1's dropped new heart. You're under a bit of pressure. You can't really get out. You hear someone's repelled on this window. You do a quick dip out. Swap back to here quickly. And now all of a sudden you can hold cigar shop door from here. Or obviously make sure no one's on the skylight. But obviously don't forget, you can still get into the other robot and use it as a camera. You don't have to transfer, you can still just use it as a camera. But the other enemies can't destroy it with anything that's not explosives until they get around the back of it. You know, like from here, you can't do anything about that robot there as an attacker. So as an attacker, you're going to have to come up this way, come over here. The whole time you're going to get a shot from freezer or from cocktail or from bathroom. Up here and then destroy the robot from the back there. Or, of course, use frag grenades or use ash charges. One thing I want to show you, though, if you do use explosives, you don't always kill the robot by using an explosive. You can destroy the shield, but not destroy the robot. So let me just bring this robot here to the middle of the room, and I'll show you what I mean. So we've transferred over to this one now. You can destroy the shield, and it doesn't destroy the robot. If there isn't enough damage to destroy the robot. Now, you can still transfer. You can see we're down to 70 health from the impact. Then when we transfer back, there's just no shield. The animation still goes on, but there's just no shield. Now, obviously, this is not much use because this is completely vulnerable. But this can happen to both robots as well. So I'll just destroy the shield on the other one quickly. So you can end up in a situation where both of them have got no shield. Oh, by the way, you can see that the bottom of the shield exists here. However, when you take the shield off, when you transfer, and then put it back down again, there won't be a shield there. You actually just saw it despawn as I was transferring. But again, like you say, you can destroy this by just shooting it anywhere and doing enough damage, or obviously one shot in the head is enough. But you won't kill Skopos that way. You've got to kill the active robot to kill Skopos. By far the most interesting counter, in my opinion, to Skopos is the BRAVA drone. So, we can see we've got the active robot here and the idle robot over there. If we go onto the BRAVA drone, you can't do anything to the live robot. Nothing happens there. However, if you come over to the idle robot, you can actually start hacking it. Now, what that will do is you can see the steam and smoke. It will start overheating. The only way to prevent that from overheating is by swapping from what was the live robot over to the idle robot. Now, if we do this again, but this time, Skopos, the Hard Baguette, thanks very much, Hard Baguette, for getting involved, by the way, who's now playing Skopos, won't swap over to the active robot. I came off the drone before I finished that then. Shouldn't have done that. So it's overheating again. We're not going to transfer. And as you can see here, the robot starts overheating. And that's the idle robot dead. Now, the strange thing is it does give you a kill. It gives you like 110 points, and it says 1v1, but it was always a 1v1. But yeah, so if you hack the idle robot, and the active robot doesn't move over to the idle robot, it will get destroyed. However, if the active robot transfers to the idle robot, the overheat will be cancelled. Another really interesting interaction with Skopos is with Thatcher. So if Thatcher sends an EMP at the active robot, you'll see here that the UI shows the robot on the right-hand side is now EMP'd. If we go into our cam, we can't access the cam because the EMP has affected the active robot. You can still move around. Obviously, you don't get your sights on your gun, but you can still move around, no problem. It doesn't affect you in that way at all. However, when it goes on to the static idle robot, you'll see on the UI again, it's the left-hand side that goes fuzzy this time. Again, we're not affected, but once again, you can't go onto the cam at all, and there's Thatcher looking pretty scary in front of us there. Obviously, when you're on the cam, you also can't transfer either. The final thing to think about with Thatcher, and the odds of this happening in-game are actually pretty slim, but if Thatcher throws an EMP, you can't transfer. If you're mid-transfer, the EMP will cancel it. So the EMP goes down, mid-transfer. See how it was mid-transfer and the EMP cancelled it? Something to think about as well. I mean, the odds of that happening in-game, the timings are insane, but it's a pretty cool interaction nonetheless. I know they showed this one in the reveal, but this one's definitely an interesting interaction. You can see now that there's a new type of footprint that comes from Skopos. Either robot leaves the same footprint, but you can see super unique. And if you're playing JACKAL and you see these footprints, you know that they're only going to belong to one person. What would happen if they then transfer out? Are they still JACKAL tracked? They're not. This robot is still JACKAL tracked. The robot has now just disappeared behind me. That was scary. Disappeared and is no longer JACKAL tracked. So a really interesting interaction where if you're getting JACKAL tracked, Skopos is actually a direct counter to JACKAL now. Providing that your idle robot is in a safe place to transfer, you can just jump back out of that, go back into the idle robot and leave this one here to get JACKAL tracked. Try that one more time. So they're out of sight now. Gonna JACKAL track this robot. Oh, I know where Skopos is. Let's go this way. Skopos is over here. Oh, wait, what? And Skopos is now there. Really cool counter and interaction to JACKAL. Another interaction with IQ this time. IQ can see the idle robot. You can see this little sort of thing on the wrist here. You can ping that and you can see that it's a Skopos idle. However, if you come into the active robot, nothing to be pinged on the active robot at all. See, there's the idle robot. Nothing on the active. until you go on cams, of course, and then you can see it. So how does Skopos interact with some people on our own team? Well, because the robots are metal and not flesh, you can see I've impacted myself now down to 70 out of 110 when it comes to health. Unfortunately, Doc can't put a stim into a robot. It still makes the same sound, but it makes no difference to the health whatsoever. You can see I'm still down at 70 HP. The other things that you need to think about that I can't really show you because I've only got 2 others on the test server is the Thunderbird interaction. Skopos can't walk past Thunderbird Kona stations, and Skopos is unaffected by smoke because with obviously being a robot, doesn't breathe air, and also unaffected by Fenrir's, as Fenrir casts a fear over sort of living beings, and these robots are not living beings, so can't be healed. The other one to think about as well is also Rook plates, although I'll get a quick demonstration of that now. Cheers, Doc. This is the interaction with Rook then. Rook's very kindly put his plates down. Unfortunately, there's no option to pick them up with Skopos. These plates are designed to go around human bodies, not robot bodies. So unfortunately, you can't pick Rook plates up at all with Skopos, which interestingly will leave 1 plate left over every round. So make of that what you will. As an attacker, pick it up. As a defender, maybe shoot the bag once all 4 of the others have been taken. So I thought whilst we're here, we'll shoot the radio and we'll show the interaction with the smoke then. So you can see the health at the top there. We'll set the toxic vapor. Just completely unaffected. The hotbox CCTV. Me and Skopos running around in toxic vape canisters, having a laugh. Not affected whatsoever. Really interesting as well, because you're going to be able to smoke certain areas, you know, without worrying about the effects of a teammate for once. Cool interaction, I feel. So there we have it. Welcome Skopos to Siege, and I'll say it now, probably the coolest designed operator since I've started playing Rainbow. The opportunities that are going to arise being able to switch between the 2 robots is going to be insane, and I can't wait to get started and get playing on it. Thank you as always for getting involved with the channel. I'm sorry I sound a little bit husky. I'm still getting over COVID. I feel fine. I've just got a bit of a lingering cough that won't shift, so it's making me sound a little bit rough, but we're all good, don't worry. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and all that sort of good stuff that you do to help me out. I really, really appreciate it. If you want to support any further, there's a few links below. If you want to get involved, PayPal, Patreon, etc. But just watching it today is more than enough, and I'm really grateful for that. I'll see you next time. Cheers.